Alright, good morning everybody. Welcome to today's Train Sim World 3 simulator live stream. Before we get started, just a couple things about this. So, on Xbox Game Pass right now, you can get the base game for free. That's 3 routes. You get Cajon Pass, you get Southeastern High Speed, and the German route, Wurzburg to Castle, I think it is, or something like that. So you don't, if you don't want to pay any money, you don't have to. Okay, if you're on the Xbox, PlayStation, I can't tell you if there's a way to get the base game for free. Be nice if you could, but I don't think it's possible. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to start on Cajon Pass for a couple reasons. One, it's an American route. Me being American, of course, I want to start in America. Also, people struggle mostly with freight. Don't know why, but it annoys people. Freight routes do. So, hopefully, by me doing this, you get a better sense of what to expect. We're going to do these 4 training things right here. The SD40 has its own training. We can do that one. That shouldn't take very long to do, but we're going to knock out these 4 things first, and then we'll do the SD40, and then we'll see how things are. If we want to try to do a scenario, we might do a scenario. If not, we'll wait to another time to do one, probably after I get back from my vacation. So there we go. So I'll wait a few minutes because I did say I was going to go live in about 30 minutes. And so there's still a little bit of time in case anybody is going to pop in and watch. Otherwise, I have to admit, the thing that threw me off at first was this background music. It's like they did this whole ASMR thing, and it's kind of cool, but it's also like you start listening to it and you just want to immediately go to sleep. So I think they need to have something a little bit more upbeat, maybe, because it's it's got the rain and the thunder, and you can hear the one of the German trains pulling away from the station or something. So yeah, it's just kind of a weird sort of a background thing that doesn't make much sense to me. But so I think when Jody had paused her game the other day, I heard it and I was like, I didn't know like if she had her microphone on, like it was raining and thunder and lightning, or thunder there where she was, but it turns out it's in the game. So go figure. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Not that there's no multiplayer to this also, and that's good. People have been asking and begging Dovetail to put a multiplayer system in there. No, leave multiplayer out of this, please. Multiplayer tends to ruin things.
Welcome to Barstow in San Bernardino County, Southern California. Here you can explore the expansive freight yard before you head out, following the famous Route 66 through the Mojave Desert into San Bernardino. There's a missing safety sign over there. Let's go fix it while you're here.
All right, so that's another thing. Now, I did kind of test this out. So the right trigger makes you walk. Just using the left thumbstick, you can run. So I don't know why. I think that's maybe a bit of a mistake. So I don't know.
There are many more tasks to discover on this route. Along the way, make sure to put up route maps, install safety signs, refill water caches, and visit the food trucks.
Now, speaking of food, apparently, I'm perplexed by this one. Apparently, Pringles is a sponsor because there's Pringles machines and
Today, we'll be riding along in this ES-44C4. Climb aboard and take a seat.
there's like coasters, there's vending machines. It's just kind of, they couldn't have come up with something better.
To date, BNSF have rostered over 300 ES-44C4 units. The ES in the name of this model denotes that it's part of GE's Evolution series, and the 44, its rated horsepower of 4,400. C denotes that it has 3 axles per truck, and the 4, it's 4 traction motors. Barstow Yard contains 48 directional tracks. It covers a total area of 593 acres. That's 240 hectares. It is the second largest marshalling yard west of the Rocky Mountains. Although this yard has been in operation since the 19th century, much of what you see today was constructed in the early 1970s at a cost of over $50 million. Today, around 1,000 staff are employed here to route freight to and from the Mojave, Needles, and Cajon subdivisions. Each year, over 150,000 locomotives stop at or pass through Barstow Yard, and each day, over 175,000 tons of freight is moved through San Bernardino County. On this route, you will learn to operate ES-44C4 as you tackle stunning mountain ranges through the winding curves of California. And serve local industry as you switch and cut formations in the SD-40-2. You pick the pace. This is Train Sim World Cajon Pass.
Hey. Hey, I got an achievement already. Okay, I'm done. No, we don't want through fire and flames. Hey, our first achievement. Yay. Alright, so what I did was I just went train depot, training center, and then we'll go right here. So yeah, it's a little bit odd navigating the menus. It's not very...
In this training module, you'll be learning how to drive this ES-44C4 locomotive in BNSF railway livery.
Nice. Oh.
The ES-44C4 is the 4th generation of the GE Evolution series. It started production in 2009 and continued to be built until 2015.
Oh, so it's 7 years old.
Rated at 4,400 horsepower. These beasts are primarily used for heavy freight and intermodal traffic. When you're ready to begin, climb aboard.
So interesting that the training itself doesn't take
sit
place
in the
necessarily
engineer's seat.
on Cajon Pass itself. We have this purpose-built test track.
Now you'll go through the steps needed to take over this locomotive.
Oh my goodness.
Firstly,
it's so complicated.
you will need to set the generator field switch. This needs to be enabled for the throttle to control the power of the train. This locomotive requires the reverser handle to be inserted before operation. The reverser determines the direction of travel.
You don't say.
Switch the front headlights on. Regardless of the time of day or weather, all locomotives must have their headlights on. When getting moving, it's worth remembering the following sequence. Independent on, auto off, throttle on, independent off. Let's go through that slowly and understand why. First, fully apply the independent brake. Now, this will ensure that regardless of anything else, your train won't move.
Okay.
Next, fully release the automatic brake. This will release the brakes on the rest of the train, but you won't go anywhere because those independent brakes are holding you.
Oh.
Now, apply a small amount of throttle and verify that power is generated. Finally, release the independent brake and you'll start moving. This is a great practice to get used to because it'll help you with two key areas. The first is that you verify that the train will take power before you release the brakes. You don't want to find yourself without power and having to hurriedly put the brakes back on. The second is that having power applied as you release the independent brakes ensures that you won't roll backwards. On steeper hill starts, you may even need to start with more power. And this is something you can practice and get used to as you find yourself out on the railroad. If you have any locomotives on the rear of the train behind freight cars, you can press the banking comms button to enable radio communications with those remote units. This will ensure that they operate their throttle and brakes in unison with your own locomotive, giving you much-needed extra control on your journey. Press it now, just to get practice, even though there aren't any connected. Coasting is a method used to efficiently maintain speed and reduce motor stress and maintenance requirements. Come to a stop in the indicated position using the independent brake. Independent brakes apply only to the locomotives in the formation and are much faster to apply and release than the automatic brake, which operates on the entire train.
I know there's a way to change. There we go. Oops. That weird. So they haven't fixed that yet. Look at that.
Change direction with a
talking
reverser. Then change the junction indicated, either by walking over to it or using the map.
All right, so go here. Now that's one of the things.
Before proceeding, check the two couplers are in the right position to allow for automatic coupling. Look at the rear coupler on your train and ensure it's open. Operate the cut bar if it is closed to release it.
Yeah, you don't have to necessarily. It used to be, and they maybe finally changed it.
Next, walk over to the freight cars you're going to couple to and check their coupler knuckle is open too. Operate the cut bar here to open the knuckle.
Show off. Yeah. I know, Mick, huh? Yeah, try to use the map because it's easier to make sure that you're lined up when you're on some of these lines. Otherwise, you'll.
Before coupling cars, always check the knuckles are open, or you'll just bounce right off.
Mm-hmm. I can imagine. What is this? Oh, look at that. Porta-John. Nice. Johnny Rock. All right.
Okay. The junction is correctly aligned and the cars are ready to couple. Couple up to the cars by gently driving into them at a slow speed. And most freight uses automatic knuckle couplers, so they will automatically couple once they connect.
Mm-hmm. You don't say. So, yeah, it shouldn't take a lot to get this thing moving. You don't want to go too fast either. Otherwise,
If your speed is too high, you risk derailing when coupling. Apply some brakes to slow your approach.
oh, okay, hold on a second. Thank you, Mick. Let me see if I can change that here. Options, settings, audio. Try about 50%. See if that works. Is that better, Mick? Is that better? Yay, nay, possibly, not sure. Okay, perfect. Thank you for pointing that out. Oh, I know why there's a third rail. This is a training center, not a. Got the overhead wires and. Here it comes. Here we go. Boom!
Hey, nice work. Now change direction with the reverser and move the train forward into the indicated siding. Remember to apply a little power before releasing brakes. While it's not strictly necessary in the training center, this is the time to start forming great habits.
I don't like great habits. I prefer bad habits. Let's make sure we're okay. We're right there. We don't like great habits. We like really bad. We'd like to develop bad habits. Really bad habits.
Since you have freight cars coupled, you should slow down using the automatic brake and get the extra braking effort from those freight cars. The automatic brake applies brakes throughout the entire train.
Obviously got to get used to the auto brakes again. I'll take it.
Uncouple the cars either by using the external camera or by walking to the cars on foot. That's it for this training module.
Oh, gee whiz, that's it? Get a gold out of that. A bronze? What? Give me a break. That was gold medal driving right there. Wow. I got robbed on that one. I'm gonna call. I'm gonna file a complaint with Dovetail Games. That was easily gold medal driving. Man, already. Wait, hold on a second. I got 1620. What else could I have done better? Like, wait, what was my score? 1370 was my best score. What? I thought it said it was like 16 something. Whatever. Dovetail Game got their funny math again. See, I'm glad I didn't pay for this crap.
All right. In this training module, you'll be learning about the different brake types found in a typical U.S. freight locomotive. Take a seat in the engineer's position.
What if I don't want to take a seat? If I want to sit in the other's chair? Can I do that instead?
Now you'll go through the steps needed to take over this locomotive. This locomotive has 3 types of brakes: independent, automatic, and dynamic. And the operation of them can be counterintuitive until you get the hang of how they work.
Hello, Para.
The independent brake applies brakes on just the locomotives and should be used when running a light loco or performing hill starts. They respond very quickly, but won't be of great use when you've got a long, heavy train behind you. The automatic brake applies brakes on the entire formation and should be used when bringing a consist to a stop, assisting the dynamic brakes on steep descents, or otherwise making more substantial speed decreases. These brakes are slow to respond, and you can't partially release them. So if you want a bit less braking, you have to release them entirely, wait for the system to repressurize, and then you can reapply.
Yeah, you don't say.
The dynamic brake uses the locomotive's traction motors to slow the train down. These can be very effective at controlling your speed on descents, and are mostly effective between around 10 and 30 miles per hour. Either side of that, you're going to need one of the other brake systems. There are several gauges used to describe what is happening in the brake system of this locomotive, and they're common to a wide range of locomotives. The brake cylinder, or BC gauge, tells you the amount of pressure going directly onto the wheels. Now, this is ultimately how much braking effort is stopping your train. If it's 0, the train is not applying any brakes.
Oh, right there.
The independent brake lever directly controls this, but be aware that this is only reporting the state of the brake cylinder on your own locomotive, and not the rest of the train. Apply the independent brake now to full, and notice that the BC gauge rapidly changes to reflect that. The brake pipe, or BP gauge, tells you the amount of pressure on the brake pipe that extends the length of the entire train. On U.S. freight, this is pressurized to 90 psi as normal. The brake pipe serves 2 functions. One is to provide air to all the freight cars down the length of the train so they can charge their own reservoirs. The other is that its pressure controls what the other vehicles do with their brakes. At 90 psi, the brakes on all vehicles will be released. As the brake pressure in the brake pipe drops below 90 psi, the other vehicles will apply brakes. Depending on the length of your train, changing the pressure on the brake pipe can be quite time-consuming, whether charging it up to release the brakes or reducing the pressure to apply them. And this is the reason that automatic brakes are tricky to use. The brake pipe works in conjunction with another system called the equalizing reservoir. Because charging the brake pipe is time-consuming, and you don't want to be watching that to find the right pressure, the equalizing reservoir is a much faster responding gauge and is what you primarily use to control the brake pipe. The automatic brake handle controls the equalizing reservoir. Apply the brakes a little with a lever, it will cause the equalizing reservoir to lower in pressure rapidly to the desired level. This causes the brake pipe to begin slowly changing to match the equalizing reservoir, and it'll automatically stop once it has done so.
Full surface.
Release the automatic brake, and you will see the equalizing reservoir rapidly rise back to 90 psi. At this point, now there are some key behaviors of this system to remember. The longer the formation, the slower the brake pipe will be to respond.
That's what she said. Oh,
You
bazinga.
cannot partially release automatic brakes. If you are braking too much, you may need to fully release the brakes, allow the brake pipe to get back to 90 psi again, and then you can reapply them. This should be carefully considered, however, as you will have no air brakes during this time. Bring the train to a stop in the indicated position using the automatic brake.
Good way to go. No, but I try not to. I try to keep it family friendly. Lights on there. Yeah, lights on. Where are beach lights? There should be, I don't know, is it the emergency lights? I got so used to changing cameras. Ah, there we go. Bright lights over there. There we go. Now we're fully lit train. Where's our like numbers for our light lights or numbers? Aha! There we go. Now we're a fully lit train. Got our number lights on. We got all of our other lights on. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, wait a minute. Where does this lurder? There we go. That was interesting. The numbing brain has eased off Mick. Oh, Mick. I don't know. I think the kids go back to school here. We had a day off yesterday, so I think they either go back today or tomorrow. And then they have a weekend and go back regular. I think. I don't know what the... Since I don't have kids who live here, or I don't have kids of my own, I don't really follow the school schedule, but I haven't heard like the school buses. Right. Usually around this time in the morning, they've been going up and down the streets, getting the kids, taking them to school. But they don't have a bus. Like I was telling Doris the other day, I think it was Doris, that the school, what am I telling her about this? But anyway, the school at the high school downtown, they don't take a bus down there. They take public transportation, but they just show their student ID, and then they don't have to pay for anything. Why am I getting these alerts? Who's doing something to my train? Wow, this looks fancy. I want to go through there. Why can't I go through there? Come on, open that side up there, Dovetail Game. Let me see what's over there. What's wrong with you? Why are you withholding? Why are you withholding? Let's put all the lights on. More the merrier. Yeah. Yeah, we have the yellow buses. Now, see, in some areas, they're not. They used to traditionally be yellow. Now they're more like they call it school bus orange. Although it looks yellowish to me. I remember years ago I was in a Ford dealership and they had the a little past. Oh crap. I let Nick down by poop. Oh, I still got 500 out of that.
Well, that concludes this training module. It's covered a lot of theory, but understanding the way these brakes work will help you understand why your train reacts the way it does. These freight trains are nothing like modern passenger trains with fast-acting and fully controllable brakes. But equally, they must manage massive, long, and heavy trains on steep gradients. An entirely different kind of challenge. Run this module again in the training center, and repeat it any time you need a refresher.
Never. Oh, got a goal out of that one. Thank goodness. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, some parents do here as well. They'll take their kids to school. We'll do the SD40 training. How long have we been going? 42 minutes. That's not too bad.
Okay, in this training module, you'll be learning how to perform a hill start and practice the switch from throttle to braking as you crest a gradient and go from ascending to descending. You'll be using GE ES44C4 locomotives hauling heavy intermodal freight. Now you'll go through the steps needed to take over this locomotive.
We'll do our own. We'll do that in just a moment. How about that? So it seems like all the other switches will generally be on, but it's hard to say for sure.
When getting moving, it's worth remembering the following sequence that was covered in the locomotive training modules. Independent on, auto off. Throttle on, independent off. Let's go through that slowly and understand why.
Oh, I know why.
If you apply power too quickly, the wheels will slip. If this happens, reduce the amount of power to regain control and then gently reapply.
No, we like some wheel slip. We like to make things interesting.
If you are struggling for grip, apply sand to increase traction. That's it. You're moving forwards under power. If you use the same start process every time you begin moving, it'll become second nature.
Or third nature, or fourth nature even. He's going to need a little. Give him some more action. He's not here. I think his shoulder did him in. Hey, you got quite a bit of ETS done last night there, Para. Quite a bit of driving. one thing they... Oh, there it is. ES44C4. That's pretty stuffed up there. Yeah, I see stuff like this down the street there by Walmart. They have Norfolk Southern comes through. Yeah, they could probably make that maybe a little bit easier to see. There's a water cache right there, or maybe a route map. Oh, it's going to turn into a roller coaster ride. Oh yeah, it's not just American; it's very American. I've never heard it described like that. That's good.
Congratulations, you have reached the summit.
Okay, that's it. I don't have to play the game anymore. I reached the
As
summit.
you start your descent, you'll need to switch to dynamic brakes to control your speed.
Yep.
The most effective speed for dynamic brakes is around 30 miles per hour. So if you're exceeding that speed, you should be slowing down. Above 30 miles per hour, the dynamic brakes become a lot less effective, and you will be more reliant on the automatic brake. The automatic brake on its own will not provide enough fine control over the speed of the train. It's a blunt instrument because you can't partially release the brakes, and they take a few minutes to apply to the setting you've asked for. If you try to rely on just the automatic brake, you will often find yourself coming to a halt or going over speed while you wait anxiously for the brakes to apply. Watch the train speed as it crests the top of the gradient. You'll go from needing power to maintain speed to finding that power starting to accelerate the train. When you see that, start backing off power and aim to keep your speed below 30 miles per hour.
Yeah, we already did that.
Once your throttle is at zero and you're starting to pick up speed a little, it's time to get the dynamic brakes into their setup position. They'll need to be there for 10 seconds before you can use them further.
Aha!
Start adding dynamic brake as needed to keep the speed in check. The dynamic brake is only on the locomotive and will react nearly instantly. As you begin to get to larger amounts of dynamic brake needing to be applied, it's time to bring in the automatic brake to help. In most cases, a minimum set of automatic brake is enough. Apply that now. Watch out that on some locomotives, as you apply the automatic brake, this will cut the dynamic brake out entirely. This is because of the brakes applying on your locomotive. If you notice this happening, pull the independent brake towards you into the bail-off position, and it will release those brakes only, leaving the automatic brake on the rest of the train. And you will see the dynamic brake come back into action immediately. As the automatic brake begins to take effect down the length of the train, you'll notice the train begin to slow down due to the extra braking effort. Gently dial back the amount of dynamic brake to compensate for this, and continue to try and aim to keep your speed around, but not exceeding 30 miles per hour. If you find that full dynamic brake is unable to hold the train speed, add a little air with the automatic brake. wait to see how the train reacts, and adjust with the dynamics as needed. Always work under your target speed of 30 miles per hour. If you find yourself chasing faster speeds, you'll need to take more substantial corrective action with the automatic brake. Okay, come to a stop up ahead using the automatic brake.
Coast. This is, you know what? I'm almost certain we've flown over this area in some way, shape, or form. Because this, I think the yard terminates at Victorville. We've been to Victorville. Once we're done with this one, we'll do the SD40 train. Now it's very, very scenic. Give them that. And I think Union Pacific runs along here as well. Some other parts. There's a rail yard. I can't remember the name of it. I used to watch it quite a bit. But yeah, there's a live feed of the BNSF yard in New Mexico. That I think takes freight up through here eventually. Matter of fact, I think you guys on ATS, you've driven through a lot of these areas as well. If I remember correctly, I remember Mick driving through Barstow, one of the ATS streams. Or at least a couple of the ATS streams before the recent expansion was released. Wow, I am not slowing down at all. I had to put every brake on. Wow.
Right. Yep. Well,
not getting gold on this one.
Training module. It is highly recommended that you practice both hill starting and the change from ascent to descent until you are comfortable with them. They are one of the more challenging aspects of operating heavy freight, and you'll really feel like you're in more control of this train as you get the hang of this task.
Silver. Go get out of here. Get out of here. There's no way that was gold worthy. Come on now. All right. Yeah, Barstow is west of LA. Right, no, southeast of LA is Barstow. And oh wow, look at that. Just getting all kinds of achievements. Well, okay, I'm going to uninstall the game now. I got all the achievements I need on Cajon Pass. There you go. So it's from Barstow to Victorville. Victorville is east-northeast of Barstow. Matter of fact, if you go coming through Barstow, there eventually there's a town called Yermo, which is where the Marine Corps has a rail yard there in Yermo. So when units go to National Training Center, all their equipment is railroaded and taken to the Yermo yard, and then you know people have to go and get the equipment and drive it to Fort Irwin, and it's all like there's like what they call a tank trail. It's dirt roads basically because you have armored vehicles and everything. They can't take a lot of the stuff on
Welcome to
the regular
driver
roads,
training
otherwise
at
it
the
would
training
just
center.
be a big mess.
Today, you'll be learning how to drive this EMD SD40-2 locomotive.
Is there a latte place in there? Mick, do you have a latte place open in the training center?
The
yet?
SD40-2 started production in 1972, with the last unit being built in 1986. Rated at 3,000 horsepower and weighing at least 170 tons, the SD40-2 is rated with a continuous tractive effort of 831,000 pounds.
Wow.
Over 4,000 SD40-2 locomotives were produced by EMD in various configurations, and many are still in use today, 50 years after they were first introduced. When you're ready to begin, climb aboard.
Oh, I was going to say, did you open up a latte place here in the training center to so drivers can have their lattes and stroop waffles. You know we need those sorts of things.
Sit in the engineer's seat.
I want to sit in the engineer's seat. Quit bossing me around. Oh, look at this.
Now you'll go through the steps needed to take over this locomotive.
Generator.
Firstly, you will need to set the generator field switch. This needs to be enabled for the throttle to control the power of the train. This locomotive requires the reverser handle to be inserted before operation. The reverser determines the direction of travel.
No kidding.
Switch the front headlights on.
Regardless
of the time of day or weather, all locomotives must have their headlights on.
Yeah. Oops, there it is.
When getting moving, it's worth remembering the following sequence. Independent on, auto off, throttle on, independent off. Let's go through that slowly and understand why. First, fully apply the independent brake. Now, this will ensure that regardless of anything else, your train won't move.
You don't say.
Next, fully release the automatic brake. This will release the brakes on the rest of the train, but you won't go anywhere because those independent brakes are holding you. Now, apply a small amount of throttle and verify that power is generated. Finally, release the independent brake and you'll start moving. This is a great practice to get used to because it'll help you with two key areas.
Yeah.
The first is that you verify that the train will take power before you release the brakes. You don't want to find yourself without power.
Amela brought
and
something up about stroop waffles about a year or
on.
so ago.
The second is that having power applied as you release the independent brakes ensures that you won't roll backwards. On steeper hill starts, you may even need to start with more power. And this is something you can practice and get used to as you find yourself out on the railroad. If you have any locomotives on the rear of the train behind freight cars, you can press the banking comms button to enable radio communications with those remote units. This will ensure that they operate their throttle and brakes in unison with your own locomotive, giving you much-needed extra control on your journey. Press it now, just to get practice, even though there aren't any connected. Coasting is a method used to efficiently maintain speed and reduce motor stress and maintenance requirements. Come to a stop in the indicated position using the independent brake. Independent brakes apply only to the locomotives in the formation and are much faster to apply and release than the automatic brake, which operates on the entire train.
And then it just so happened after Mela kept talking about him when I was flying, when I went on vacation in 2019. Was it 2019? No. When I took the trip and I ended up, when I was flying from Roanoke, Virginia to Las Vegas and some of the other flights, one of the snacks they gave was street waffles. So I had never tried them before, but they were pretty good. Really enjoyed them. go to that total map. The SD-42 is pretty sharp. But anyway, on the live feed at the rail yard there in New Mexico, and I can't remember the name of the yard, but they have what they call heritage units now. Burlington Northern and Santa Fe were two separate railroads many years ago, and then they merged to create BNSF. But the Santa Fe livery with what they call the war bonnet.
Change direction with a reverser, then change the junction indicator, either by walking over to it or using the map.
Is a very popular livery on Santa Fe.
Before proceeding, check the two couplers are in the right position to allow for automatic coupling.
From those many
Look
years
at the rear coupler on your train and ensure it's open. Operate the cut bar if it is closed to release it.
Just did.
Next, walk over to the freight cars you're going to couple to and check their coupler knuckle is open too. Operate the cut bar here to open the knuckle.
I gotta run over there. I'll let you go that far. So yeah, it's backwards now. If you press the right trigger, you walk. If you just press your left thumbstick forward, you'll run. They kind of did it backwards, I think. I don't know if that was intentional or what, or by accident.
Before coupling cars, always check the knuckles are open, or you'll just bounce right off. Okay. The junction is correctly aligned and the cars are ready to couple. Couple up to the cars by gently driving into them at a slow speed. And most freight uses automatic knuckle couplers, so they will automatically couple once they connect.
They'll automatically fall in love when they connect. Yes, I do like stroopwafels. I never tried them before, but they were quite delicious.
If your speed is too high, you risk derailing when coupling. Apply some brakes to slow your approach.
Something like a Milla would do. Speaking of a Milla. derailing and coupling trains. You know, you've done that more than a few times, I think. And before you ask, I had pork loin last night for dinner. I made it for lunch yesterday and had the rest of it for dinner. It's been raining here. I think all that rain is either already there where you are or is still on its way. Does not bring down the temperature hardly at all. Still kind of humid and muggy. And they melt and taste fresh baked. Oh. Now you can see. Now you told the secret pair. Now Mel's like, ooh, I gotta try that. Oops, brake, not the brake. Yeah, you probably get the rest of it throughout today. Vic, it was nice to see you streaming again. Yesterday. Of course, it was nice to have people come in. Can I join? Can I join? Hey, but I've done. I've gone to Division 1 like 100 times. It's not bad. I mean, it's okay. There's just some things that I notice already that's kind of like, eh.
Hey, nice work. Now change direction with the reverser and move the train forward into the indicated siding. Remember to apply a little power before releasing brakes. While it's not strictly necessary in the training center, this is the time to start forming great habits.
Yeah. But of course, see, I think word got around about you guys doing your bringing
people in. Since you have freight cars coupled, you should slow down using the automatic brake and get the extra braking effort from those freight cars. The automatic brake applies brakes throughout the entire train.
No kidding. I swear I've heard that before. Switch. Oh, white head to shunt. What? Oh. That didn't make any sense. Yeah, I know, Mick. I know. I agree. What? What? Really? Wow. It's late lunch. That's pretty. You might as well eat dinner now. I'm gonna probably get a bond on this too. Yeah, I mean, it's nice that they got BNSF, but I think the way they paid for it is thanks to Pringles, because Pringles is all over the place in this freaking sim now. I noticed that. Because I did kind of check out at least the German route. Yeah. I see the Pringles posters everywhere, and I'm like, wow. A fatty freaking potato chip is the sponsor at this point. Couldn't come up with something better? Like fresh produce or something, you know? Eat your vegetables, eat your fruits. But I mean, it looks okay. I like the idea of the training center, although I'd rather train on the actual route itself, not in a environment, enclosed environment. You know? So, but I mean, it's an interesting concept. I just think that they could have done. I liked it better when you could, or give you the option. Do you want to do the training on the actual route, or do you want to do it in a controlled setting, kind of like this is? But I can't really complain though. I didn't give them any money, so that's okay. Somebody's messaging. Come on, train, stop.
Uncouple the cars either by using the external camera or by walking to the cars on foot. That's it for this training module.
Okay, 1870, right? And see, I got a bronze. How is it, like, what what was so bad about, why didn't I get more points? That's what I don't understand. So let's look at the. Oops, no. I didn't want to do that. Hold on, I think somebody was. Oh, there's a lot of action on Discord this morning. Nope. Main menu. I just want to see what was the intended thing. I think Jody's getting ready to go live. Oh, TBC. Okay. So let's see. Trains and train depot, training module. No, that's the. So wait a minute. I had it was 1870, or no, it was 1620. Wow. Wait a minute. I thought it said 18 something. So my question is, what can you do? Maybe you know this, Amela, since you might know the inner thinkings of some of those knuckleheads over there. What more can you do to get 1900 points? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, I think low end you would have like 800, then maybe 1200, but I think what we did was at least good enough for. I mean, what more points can you get out of it? That doesn't make any sense to me. Let's see, an hour 21. Let's have a look at the scenarios. Pick a route. Scenario. Shop class. It looks like maybe you just back. You turn on the train, back it up, and connect it or something. And then maybe pull it to the. We could do that one real quick. And then we'll call it a day. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Mick, get on the horn to those knuckleheads at Dovetail Games. The services simply don't give a go for some reason. Yeah. That's why people feel like companies like Dovetail Games hates their players. Not gonna lie, it just feels that way. Okay, which one? Oh, over here. Like, there's just no, like, I'm sure they'll be like, oh, we gotta check everything again. We're sorry. This doesn't make any sense. Where are you gonna squeeze 300 more points out? or under 300. That doesn't make much sense. One Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi. Oh, we gotta put our number lights on first. And our crosswalk lights on. Like to be a well-lit train. Come on now. What's the other one? Is that another set of lights there? Boy, the cursor thing is really... Aha! I knew they would do it. All right. So here's a see, this is something they should do in the training, not in a scenario. So now they have to have you set up the brakes. Bella, tell those jackasses this is something that should be in the training module for setting up the locomotive, not in a scenario. This is why people get frustrated with these freight lines. Flippin' heck. Come on. And I know Mick is sitting there nodding, agreeing with me. Like, I wouldn't have known to do any of this stuff if I just skipped the scenario. I don't understand why they think that's like the smart thing to do. So a lot of people don't do the scenarios. Yeah, see? You would think they would, after what happened with, what was it called? The one with the F7 and the braking systems on the F7. You would have thought they would have learned their lesson not to put stuff like that, you know, or to explain it in the training, not in a separate... Man. Oh, we gotta check to make sure our... See? I almost left without... Come on, really? Or see, I start moving and that's when I can't get this thing to line up. Alright, everything else is lined up. There we go. Yeah, that's I don't I don't quite understand that, but hey, I didn't give them any money, so I'm not surprised. They wonder why people rage quit on this stuff, or they won't play the American freight routes. So I was wondering, I'm sure they talk about it a little bit with these brake systems up here, the numbers and what they represent, but like, well, how come we didn't set anything up? That doesn't make any sense. Barstow used to be one of those places in California that you could actually buy a house or something, and it was very reasonably priced, but nothing is reasonably priced in California anymore. Anyway, well, got that rant out the way. Oh my goodness. Some people's children. Which way am I supposed to go? Supposed to go forward and then come back around? I guess so. Alright. Because it looks like they want you to go backwards into there, but you can't. Oh my goodness. Surprised Jody's not here waiting to see if I swear or not. Close to it, Jody. I'm almost there. But it's not because of the route. It's because of Dovetail Games. Well, at least we'll get a nice tour of the Barstow yard, just to go get gas. I would guess if you worked for BNSF here at the Barstow yard, probably get paid pretty well. Probably one of the best employers in the area. Oh, if you're a see, I would imagine a lot of the soldiers who are stationed at Fort Irwin who are diesel mechanics or diesel engine mechanics, they can get a job at a railroad once they get out, and they can, because they're already certified as mechanics, all they do is learn the diesel electric systems of the locomotives, and they got a good job. I knew a lot of diesel mechanics that did that when they got out in the Army. They went to work for Norfolk Southern or CSX. Maybe it's CSX. No, Norfolk Southern. Right outside the gate there, Hunter Army Airfield. They were like, oh, I already got a job lined up. They had immediately gone over there because many of them had bought a house and they had kids in school and all that, so they weren't wanting to move again. So they were like, we'll stay here, and they got a job at Norfolk Southern working on the diesel engines. And if you were an airframe power plant mechanic, I think, what was it that has somebody's one of the business jet companies. It's not Lear. I think it's Cessna, but they had they still have it, I think, near the airport there in Savannah. They have a facility that you can work for them as a airframe slash power plant mechanic. Or if you're lucky, you get hired on with one of the airlines or something. But yeah, I looked at working for the railroad, but I was like, yeah, no. The way they made it sound was you're on call. This is what I understood. When you get hired on, you're on call 24/7. You cannot, if you say no to any assignment, you're well, I knew a lot of the mechanics. Like, I was in an aviation unit, so a lot of the like Black Hawk mechanics, the Kiowa, the Chinook mechanics, a lot of them got jobs in the aviation field when they left. And many of the pilots, they would either that were helicopter pilots, they would transfer over to fixed wing. They would get certified on, get their commercial jet license or whatever. But they already had some, they understood aviation related stuff, so it wasn't but no, there were those were like the two big. Aside from healthcare, you had either Norfolk Southern or I can't remember the name of the company that they have like they're part of the airport, but they have their own separate area, kind of. So yeah, that's what a lot of the diesel mechanics and the airframe power plant mechanics did. And then pilots, of course, they had a pretty easy choice. Although many of them, they were like, "Nah, I'm done flying." Or a couple of them did like they would do like regional jet services. Yeah, 24/7. I looked it up when I was in Afghanistan. I was kind of, because I was going through my railroad phase. I was like, I'm reading all these books. And I was like, oh man, I'd like to work for the railroad. And when I checked into it, they were like, yeah, when you first get hired, you have to, you're on call all that time. As a new person, really, it's like, don't say no because it looks bad, like you don't really want the job. So it doesn't matter what the weather is. If they call you and say, get over to the yard, you got to get over there and do whatever. And you just got to, go through the stuff until you get enough time, and then they're like, okay, you're good to go. You're like an official employee. I guess it's just more one of those things that they just put you through the ringer to see if it's something that you're really serious about or not. Uh-oh. Nope, 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 nope. A little bit more, a little bit. No, no, no. Don't. There you go. I got on the rig a little too early. Keep doing that. I got so used to the way the all right, let's go. Let's go up. Oh, is this gonna reach? Nope, of course not. Oh, wow. Okay. Let's go back up here. You gotta be kidding me. Yeah, see, they should have put you. There we go. Oop. Wow. Okay, well. Jeez. Okay, I think I know what I gotta do. All this because they didn't tell you to go correctly to the right stop point. I guess if I was a lot younger when I got out, it would be you know, it would have been an easy yes to do it. But you know, when you're older, you're just like, yeah, I just don't have time for that kind of nonsense. You know. Oh, come on. You gotta be kidding me. climb back up. This is gonna do my head in. Jody, if you're here, I'm close to swearing, I promise you. I'm almost there. Not quite, but I'm almost there. Alright, let's see which way we're going here. Almost there. They've almost got me swearing. I'm trying not to. I know Jody'd be like, yeah, I would have been swearing already. This is one thing I always had a trouble with on Train Sim World 2. It's these switches, trying to get the thing to hover over it just enough so you can check your... Okay. I dare not even look at the forums. Some people are like, what did you do? And you didn't get a Klondike bar. And the old song, what did you do for a Klondike bar? Honestly, the Duffler games didn't do enough for a Klondike bar. Oh, listen. But I have to like almost go all the way into the, I don't know. I don't even want to try to figure out the logic behind some of this stuff. Because I know it'll definitely do my head in. Yeah, if you're on Xbox, especially if you got the next gen consoles, X or S, pick it up on Game Pass. Try it out. You don't have to pay for anything. Get some even with Metro North, they don't care where you live. If they call you for assignment up in the... Yeah, I can believe it. Because then if you say no, like, there's no way, like, if you're snowed in, oh, well, then I guess, you know, this is going to count against you. Well, but it's not. I can understand maybe if it was something that you had control over. You don't have control over the weather or the roads, you know. Just like here where I live, if it snows, they'll try to keep the roads clear, but after a certain point, they'll just be like, yeah, we give up, you know, and they'll just stop plowing. Because they can't keep up with the amount of snowfall. So after a while, they're just like, forget it, we give up. But yeah, it's just it's insane. But yeah, I would say if you got Game Pass, give it a try. You may like it. You may not. It does test your patience sometimes, as you've seen already, and I don't mind American freight routes. I quite enjoy them, but this is one of those cases where it feels like a lot of this stuff doesn't make any sense. So but yeah, for free, what can you say? Can't be too mad, but yeah, I wouldn't give them any more. But I will I will say this: it's nice that BNSF is in the sim now. That's one of the local railroads that people have been asking for some time. And I know that they said for many years that it's not going to be possible because it was a licensing issue. Well, I would think so, Omela. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, if I can understand it, like if you purposely are out, like you're, I don't know. Like, I can understand it if it's something that you're doing that prevents you from going into work, like you're willfully just going like, yeah, no, I'm But then by then for sure that it's working there is not your thing, you know. So, yeah, I don't know. But I think that's what most companies do. They kind of they put you through the ringer, and it's either you accept being put through the ringer or you're going to be looking for work elsewhere. And it's not that they fired you; they just like it didn't work out, And they don't feel bad about it because there's other people who will gladly take your place, And that's what they count on. They'll go through people until they find somebody who's gonna be okay with being put through the ringer. I guess it depends on how badly you want the job. But yeah, it's nice to see BNSF in the sim. Like I said, it's one of those popular sorts of railroads in American railroading. Yeah, don't spend your money if you can help it. I wouldn't spend any money on this. Straight up. And luckily it's on Game Pass. I didn't expect it to be on Game Pass right away, but it is, so it helps. It does give you the opportunity to try it. You know what I didn't do? That we got to check that we didn't check. We would have bounced right off. It's nice to have it. I'm going to do a mic though. I'm just going to get my achievements and bugger off in the game. That will not be a featured sim on my channel like it used to be. Uh-oh. I think it froze up. I think I talked enough crap. It's... Oh. They were like, oh, he's talking bad. Let's see how we do with this. A gold. All right. Well, at least we got a gold out of that one. Well, I think that's it for today, folks. Yeah, I think I've had enough. Oh, Dovetail Games. In the immortal words of Addies, what you like? What are you like? Anyway, that's going to do it for today. I will see you all tomorrow, 7:10 Eastern, 11:10 UTC, 12:10 UK. Back in the Junkers 52 first flight down to North Myrtle Beach. We'll get started in the morning and fly down there real quick, and then we'll be done. So, Do enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, morning, afternoon, evening, early Wednesday, depending on where you are in the world. I have been your host and train engineer, Uncle B. Until then, peace, live long and prosper.